welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. I am pleased to welcome you to this lovely setting. This is the Mac Days alumni panel on careers. And I'm sorry, forgive my back. Let me give you a little bit of background about Mac Days. Some of you were involved in it last year. This is the fourth contiguous year, although Mac Days, not under that name, but panels of alumni had happened in the previous years, maybe 12, 13 years ago. What happened was I had one particular semester where one too many students asked me, what am I going to do with my degree in communication? And I said, well, gee, let's call up the folks who are out there already and are doing things to come in and talk to our current students and show them what they've done with their degree in communication. And so thus it was born. It happened, oh gosh, I don't know, in the late 1990s, maybe early 2000s. One year here, then nothing, then another year here. I think 2 or 3 years. 4 years, 2 or 3 times. 4 years ago, the Department of Communication was approached by Palomar College, their Department of Journalism and Communication, etc. Some of your Palomar transfers? Yes? Yay, okay. So you know who I'm talking about. They asked us if we would like to participate, and they had an event called Media Days, in which they would bring in professionals in media to come in and show their students what to do, once they got out of college. And we said, sure, but we're not just focused on media, we do communication as well, is that okay? And they said, sure. So we partnered with Palomar and Miracosta, and we had a grant, and it was all great and fine. We had external speakers. Each campus did their own thing, and then we had a common speaker, a keynote speaker. So 3 years ago, we had Stephen Youngblood. Some of you were there, maybe not, in Comp 360 with Freddy Aulos. Last year, we had Caroline Sawyer. Some of you went for that event when she talked about social media, etc. This year, we don't have the grant. However, we still have the alumni, because we will always have alumni. And we're very proud of what folks like you have gone on to do with their lives, and especially with a degree in communication. So thus, here we are. And because of the grant, it ended up just being kind of a reduced, it has taken a different form. The alumni panel is on careers this year. We've had alumni panels on internships, and Catherine Matsumoto has participated in that and brought her students. And we also had alumni panels on grad school. And so what's going to happen this year with the alumni, with the research, undergraduate research, is that Kendra Rivera is organizing a panel of students who presented their research at Western States Communication Association on April 30th during New Hour. And we'll let you guys know more about it so you can come. So that is the background of Media and Communication Days. So we have this panel of alumni who are here.
Hello everyone, I'm Caitlin, and to start off our panel, I will introduce our first panelist. This is Joshua. He graduated in 2007, and he's a television producer. Next, we have Megan. She graduated in 2011, and she's a technical recruiter. Next, we have Carmen. She graduated in 2002, and she's a real estate broker and investor. After Carmen, we have Angela she graduated in 2007, and she's a college recruiter for Geico. And lastly, or second to last, we have Marlino. He graduated in 2002, and he's a marketing specialist, and he's an owner of Brand Consulting. And our last panelist, I'm sorry I've not met you yet. Would you like to share when you graduated and what your position is currently?
Sure. I graduated in 2007. My name is Alyssa Jacey, and I do several things. Full-time touring singer-songwriter, started a business that's artist development, media coaching, and booking agency, and I host a couple television shows out of Nashville.
Thank you. And if I can interject, I hope you're going to sing, Alyssa, because
yes, please do.
I will not let you get out of here.
Okay, twist arm.
You only brought your guitar.
I know. It's just a
Guilty.
prop. I don't
Okay, to start off, my first question for everyone, we'll start with Joshua and then we'll go down the line. Do you feel that your communication degree gave you an up in applying for jobs? If so, what were your advantages and what were your strategies or examples?
I think my degree helped a lot, but I think Cal State San Marcos really helped more than anything else because, I mean, I think there's still the words requirement here where you have to write like a certain amount of words for every course, even physical education courses. Might have seemed like a pain in the butt at the time, but now I actually started out as a journalist, so that kind of pushed me in that direction, but in television, you're constantly having to write pitches, communicate with people, and most people don't have a communication degree. Most people don't have a big focus on words. So I definitely feel like I have an upper hand whenever I'm, negotiating with people or just discussing business with people in general. So absolutely it has, yeah.
I definitely think it gives us a leg up, maybe not just the title or the major of communication on your resume. That doesn't do enough justice. It's definitely what you learn in your classes. So yes, paying attention does help. But in speaking in front of classes, like I know Dr. Rossman's class, doing the debates and the everything going back and forth, definitely helps. I hated speaking in front of people, but have gotten a lot better with it now. It's my job. I speak with people on the phone every day. But nonetheless, yes, communication, everything you learn in the classes definitely sets you up, and I believe truly gives you a leg up because you learn how also to read people and just build relationships. I mean, that's key in business. I mean, it is a dog-eat-dog world out there, I'm not gonna lie, but if you're able to communicate, I mean, you're going to be able to, and that's a lot of what interviewing is as well, is it's an art. You just need to communicate and be able to communicate your point and get that across.
I have to agree with her. Communication is one of the biggest things in business is relationships and getting to know people and get yourself out there. So in reference to me, I started doing real estate when I was 19. I was still in Dr. Rossman's class, and now I was able to build my own company and really get involved in real estate, meeting new people. And communicating is, your key. I mean, relationships, people, just establishing, just new relationships out there. That one contact is going to get you to the next and the next. And it's actually a great degree to go into and make a lot of money, you guys.
Key point.
Yeah.
I definitely have to agree as well. I think that communication is still a little bit broad enough where it covers a lot of areas where people are looking to hire. Because it does give you really good experience in your different classes like cultural communication and a lot of presentations, so you do have that experience. I think they didn't have mass media when we graduated, but my hope was again to like radio or music or like film, but it took me in a whole different direction and it still worked out perfect because I love my job. So again, it is broad enough, but it does give you those skills like interviewing and being able to network with people and just put yourself out there. So yeah, no regrets.
I think for me, getting the degree, it's a twofold. I mean, communications back when we graduated, maybe even before that, was kind of like the catch-all degree if you didn't know what else you wanted to graduate in. It's like, well, I'm going to graduate in communications. It fulfills everything. And so, like you guys, before I came out, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this degree? I didn't know which direction to go. Because of the personality that I have, I'm able to do many things. I'm pretty much like a jack of all trades. So finding that niche on where to go was difficult in the beginning. I mean, I had an idea of exactly what I wanted to do, but when I came out, I'm like, wow, there's so many other things I can do. I think the degree is vitally important because that's the one thing no one can ever take away from you. You earned that degree. You suffered through all the classes and learned as much as you could. I mean, it's true because who wants to do homework? Who wants to do research? I mean, we don't really want to do it. We want to get out in the field and we want to experience everything firsthand. But the truth is you have to work towards getting to that goal. It's the same thing. Once you get into the real world, you're going to have to start from the bottom and work your way up. You know, again, like I said, I did so many different things. I started off in radio, not because I wanted to. It was just something, it was a passion of mine growing up, and so I found ways to get into radio. When I graduated, I wanted to do advertising, and so I found out that a lot of the stuff that we learned here didn't translate to the positions that were available for me at that time. So what did I do? I took the next step. I started researching on my own. I found books, found people who were doing the stuff that I was doing, and then learned from them. So I think the benefit of what you have of being in school here, and what I've learned was, being in the classes will teach you how to present. It'll teach you how to articulate your words. It'll teach you how to basically work in groups. Because when you're in the real world, that's what you have to do. Like, companies will hire you because you fit their culture. They're going to hire you because you can articulate your ideas that would make sense. They're going to hire you because they can see what value you'll have to their organization. So, you know, if you guys are like me and kind of figure out what to do, you know, I would look deep in, just get the degree, and then figure out where you want to go. But the degree is valuable.
You all pretty much said everything I would want to say. I think the bottom line is, anything that you do in life, it's going to be what you make of it. So it doesn't even really matter what degree you have, as long as you take it seriously. You go out there and you go try different things. Things are going to work, things are not going to work. You're going to fail, you're going to succeed, as long as you learn from everything that you do. Just like you, I went through a lot of different jobs before I discovered even music. Music came by accident. I didn't want to sing at all in my whole life until the year I started school here. Some friends heard me singing to myself, and they thought that I should try karaoke, and it was like a joke this one time. And I'm like, oh, I'll do it this one time, and then it turned into, wow, I guess I have a voice. Oh, out of nowhere I can write, and all of a sudden I'm playing guitar, and it's like I took the communication part of it and just ran with it, and all of a sudden now I'm doing this hosting TV thing and making all these connections, and I absolutely hated speaking in front of classes. Like right now, I would be like sweating so much and shaking, and my voice, you know, just my face would be red, and I couldn't look at you all in your eyes, but I'm so comfortable from it now and all the practice that I've had. So getting a communications degree, it gives you so many different areas of what you could do. There's no limitations, just as long as you just believe in yourself and go for it, and you can do anything you want.
Okay, my next question is, how would you describe your most memorable or significant moment in your career where you thought, like, I finally made it?
Dr. Rossman probably knows what I'm going to talk about. Recently I was producing a show called Baggage on the Road. It's hosted by Jerry Springer. It's a game show on Game Show Network. I have quite a few like crazy stories that have happened to me since I graduated here, but this was kind of surreal. I was in St. Petersburg, Florida. I had just been in New Orleans, and the week before that I was in Austin, Texas, and then the week after I was going to be in Waterbury, Connecticut with Jerry Springer. I was his producer on the show, basically the guy who tells him what to say. I wrote all of his jokes, wrote all the episodes of the show. He's somebody I grew up watching. He's somebody we all grew up watching. His TV show's on, you know, every single day. In St. Petersburg, we were shooting on the beach, and like literally the ocean is right there, and we're on a stage, and I would prep him in between shows. We would shoot 2 shows a day, and in between shows I'd be in his hotel room, because that's what the green room was, where he would prepare instead of just like a normal TV set. So I'm in his hotel room, and he's 70 years old, so he gets tired in between shows. I mean, it's long days, and he's like, just, you know, come prep me in my room. So I go to his hotel room, and he's lying down, and he sees how awkward it is that he's lying down, and I'm like standing up and getting him ready for the show. So he's like, just lay down with me. So I'm laying in bed with Jerry Springer, getting him ready for the next show, and I'm thinking, where the heck am I right now? How did I get in this position? It was just so surreal. But that was when I was like, wow. Like, I've worked with much bigger stars. I've worked with, like, you know, LMFAO. I've worked with, you know, just people up and down, you know, in Hollywood. But that was like, I'm in bed with this guy right now. It was kind of weird, but it was very fun. So that was just one of those moments where I'm like, this is what I do for a living. And I still can't believe it. I love telling that story.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the moment.
I want to hug you right now.
Can we do the next question? I don't think I can follow.
Yeah.
That is okay.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sure you have a great idea.
No pressure.
Right now,
No pressure.
Okay.
I would say probably my biggest memory, so I mean that I actually feel that I made it, was probably my second job out of college. And I was a recruiter, not a technical recruiter. And just as, I don't know if you all know what a recruiter does, but we look for candidates such as yourself when you graduate and place you, or help you to find a new position, to find your hopefully dream job. But anyways, so just the company that I was working for, making that first placement, like calling that I found that person on the job boards, spoke to that person, interviewed that person, and prepared them for the interviews that they were going into, and then lastly getting the job was, I think, the main thing. Even just that first hire, because it was just so, I mean, such a milestone. And it happened quickly. It didn't happen like it took me 6 months to be in this position. It happened in like a couple weeks. So to be able to make that impact on someone's life, and then obviously still to this day, but that first person I'll never forget. It was he was an entry-level college graduate, and so was I myself. But I was preparing him for his interviews and helping him to get his job. And then we became friends. Like, he'd call me, "Hey, Megan, this is what's going on. I got promoted." And that's just so cool, to be able to make that impact. You're really impacting their lives, their family lives, everything, because that is what they're doing. You're helping them make a living. So definitely that, and then being quickly promoted. My first promotion at that company was like, okay, awesome, and I got promoted in 8 months, and that was just so cool to be so young and I wasn't even a year out of school yet, and it was promoted to be running the branch. So that was how I finally felt like, hey, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's great. Well, as you know, I'm associated with real estate, and I started, like I told you previously, when I was 19. And in 2005, I was given an award for the state of California, 16th individual in the state that sold the highest amount of real estate for the area. So I was only 25 years old, and I was young, and the amount of money that was made back in those days was pretty good. My job is nothing like $1 million listing, what you guys see on TV. Nothing to do with it. We don't even make that much money. Yeah, but I was able to generate great income, and I was able to pay off my property when I was 27. So that was the first step when I said, okay, this is where I'm going. This is where I want to go, and continue on from that route. So that was the best of my career.
So mine's a little similar too as far as recruiting. So when I graduated in 2007, I started right after school with Geico, and it was a position in claims where you needed a degree. So I was like, okay, it's not film or music, but it paid well. So I was like, I'll try it for a couple years, and I've been there 7 years. So I stayed with it. But I did claims for about 3.5 years, and the position came open in our hiring department. So I was like, I'm going to try this. And I used to always say, if I could get paid for being social, that would be like the perfect job for me.
That's awesome.
And then I got into hiring, and I did like entry-level hiring. I helped out with like new hire orientations, different things. And we had a college recruiter, and I went to a career fair with her, and we came back. I was like, I want your job. And like a year later, I got promoted. So it's just so great because I get to come back to San Marcos. I get to go to other colleges and just meet with students and be able to put myself back in their shoes. What you're going through, I know exactly how you feel, and it's nice to be able to have that rewarding experience, to be able to match you with a good company, whether it's Geico or somewhere else, but just to see you kind of grow in your own careers, and even like the networking and the social media aspect of it. And I always think like, I can't believe I get paid to do this. Like this. How awesome is that? I'm not in an office. I'm here being able to kind of give back. So I would say it all just kind of clicked. And it's like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I love it.
Cool. I think for me, where I've made it, honestly, I don't think I've made it yet. I think because of who I am, like I'm always wanting to learn something new. And so I think because I like to grow and I like to discover things, I don't think I found, I can't say I fully made it just yet. But I can tell you a revelation of mine though, is when I actually used to work in radio. I worked for Z90. I'm sure you guys have heard that station. It was back in the day when Z90 was actually really good. And so, I mean, I worked there. I mean, you know, it was really good. And the reason, I'll explain why. I worked there for 11 years, and so I've seen everything from the mom and pop company grow into the merger into becoming a corporate company. And so I went from playing really good music to playing bland music. That, you know, and I guess for me being in that industry for so long, I grew out of it. And so, you know, at that time I was about to graduate from Cal State San Marcos. And then so now it's kind of like, okay, do I stay in radio, stay in this industry? You know, I was having fun, meeting artists, going to parties, going to the big concerts. Everyone wanted tickets from me. You know, it was cool. But at the same time, I'm like, this is not what I really wanted to do. And so being here, my degree, obviously communication, I wanted to do advertising. That was my dream. Like, I used to watch Who's the Boss. I'm sure I just dated myself right there. But Angela Bauer used to bring home storyboards. And because of those storyboards, it attracted me because I'm an artist. I wanted to do something professional where I could make money. And I was like, oh, I'll do advertising. That's my niche. And so that didn't go out too well. What I ended up discovering, and then this is where the turning point comes in, is I started to look back to everything that brought me to where I am today. And I started to come to the realization that mostly every single company that I had worked for had a very dysfunctional company culture. And so the turning point for me was I was working for a company in San Francisco. I was a marketing manager at the time, and some of their pain points were, you know, we have marketing problems. We don't know how to get our message out correctly, and we don't know how to communicate what we do, what we sell correctly. And so I sat there literally for like 6 months evaluating everything from top to bottom. And it hit me, it came to a realization like, you guys don't have a marketing problem, you have a branding problem. And how many of you guys know what the term branding or brand means? What do you think it means?
I'm not ready to answer the question.
Oh, no worries. Just off the top of your head, what do you think it means?
It's kind of like having like an overall cohesive message that you're putting out that represents yourself or your company, that resonates with every person that sees your company or knows you or meets you or in any way that connects with you.
Okay.
So they understand who you are based on your brand.
Yeah, that's good. A brand, when we say brand, a lot of times, a lot of people typically think a product like Coke, Dove, Tide. But the brand that I'm talking about is the elements that make up the core, the essence of the company. You think of an iceberg. The top of the iceberg is 10%. That's the marketing, the advertising, social media, etc. The 90% is what the purpose of the company is, the company culture, the employees, all those things that generate the type of messaging that everyone will see at the 10%. And that's the stuff we don't learn in school. I had learned it because I discovered that problem. And so that's what ended up becoming a revelation to me, because then, to be honest with you, till now, every company that I have worked for has that problem. Like the company that I do marketing for, they have that problem. And I keep trying to tell them, like, we talk about our core values and beliefs, but we don't have it up. We don't talk enough about it. How do we translate what we're saying to our customers if our employees don't even buy into it? I can ask any one of our employees, they won't even know one of our core values and beliefs. So how are they going to project that same message if no one else understands it? And so my other side, and that's what prompted me to start a branding company, is to fulfill that gap. Because after I saw that was a common thing that I kept experiencing, I was like, you know what? Why don't I create a company that will help these companies like close that gap? And so I don't think I'm there as far as the enlightenment moment, but I think I found exactly where I want to go. So
I'm so excited to answer this question.
hurry up, stop talking.
No, not at all. Okay, so because music was never a thing for me, I felt like I was really, really lost. Even after graduating from school, I had all these kind of different jobs. I worked in retail and restaurants and stuff. And then when music came about, something snapped in me where I was like, I'm gonna go after this with just so much determination that I've never even discovered that I have had in my system in my whole life. And when you find that passion, it's like you find this different side of yourself that you never knew existed. So as each year progressed in music, it started in 2005 is when I first started singing, really. And each year after that, something would happen where I'd put out a new album, or I'd end up on some news station, or I started touring. People started coming to my shows, and my brand is blue. I'm obsessed with the color blue. And my brother would tease me early on because he's like, dude, do you think people are just going to come to your shows wearing blue? My brother's the best, by the way. So we're special. That he's like, you're just obsessed with blue. It's not this, it's not going to turn into anything. Well, it turned into something so big that now, am I yelling? I'm so excited about this. That I wear it all the time, and I've coined the term bring the crew and wear your blue. So now fans will come to my shows wearing blue, they'll dye their hair blue, and at certain points you see people singing your lyrics back, and that was like, it's kind of mind-blowing to me that people are learning my music, and I was never one of those artists that learned a bunch of cover songs first. I skipped all that because, again, just 10 years ago, that was when I started. So people come out of the womb singing if they want to, like they start when they're really young. It started really late for me, so I felt like I had to fast forward that process. And I will this what I'm about to tell you is on YouTube. If you go look this up, it's just under Alyssa JC EPK. I don't know if you know what Electronic Press Kit is, but I was asked, what is your favorite musical memory? And it was performing at the Coach House. I'm there about every 6 to 12 months, which is a venue for supposedly only international acts, and I'm not international. I got the chance to start opening for all these people like Paula Cole, Sean Colvin, Lisa Loeb, coming up this Saturday actually. And I opened for Sean Colvin, and I played a brand new song for the first time, and it's such a meaningful song, and I had my first standing ovation. The room was completely quiet, and I remember in that moment when I finished it, I couldn't even thank the audience because it was so loud and there were so many whistles, and like it was such an emotional thing, and I'm just sitting there going like, is this really my life? Is this really what I'm doing? And from music and writing and performing, I'm meeting all these people, which turned into me moving to Nashville, because in San Diego, while it's an amazing city and I'm so thankful and proud to be from here, you can kind of only do so much in music. So I didn't really know anyone in Nashville. I had savings in my account, and I moved, and all I had was an apartment there, and I went after it with just, super blinders on, and within 8 to 12 months, it became my full-time job. And after that, I was getting approached by venues to come perform for them as opposed to me going after them, and the name started circulating. It's just like, again, is this really my life? Is this happening? And then I get approached by Balcony TV, will you host for us? And so it's just one thing after the next, but it's because I put in so much time and effort. So have I made it? In my terms, I have, because every single day I am so happy with my life. I don't need to be famous. I don't even want to be famous. I don't have to be on a red carpet. I don't have to be on a magazine cover, but I just want to be doing what I love and be passionate about it and be able to talk to people like this about it and inspire. And I am the happiest I could ever be. And so I'm just going to keep going after it, and I know that you all can do that too.
I just have to add to that. So your branding is good, because I remember back when we were in school, going to one of your shows and wearing blue. So it works.
Yay! Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I noticed when I walked in, like, she's wearing a blue outfit. Yes.
I have to add to that. It's so true what she says. Like, if you're passionate and you love something, just stress on that and do anything you can to make that work, because I think that your success is driven by your passion. Whatever you like to do and you're going to put 150% in it, it's going to work. That's what, especially when you start owning your own business and doing what you like to do and being your own boss. Eventually, she's her own boss, he's his own boss, and it's because of that passion and that time put into it. So congratulations, guys. An awesome panel.
Even add what she's saying, staying focused is like the #1 thing too, because then if you think of Apple could have easily done so many different avenues as far as their products and stuff go, but what did? They chose to celebrate the user. So a lot of the products had been developed to become an extension of the people who used it, and they stayed focused on that, even though it was different. And because of being focused, they were able to achieve, it's Apple, So, you personally, if you remain focused and not try to, test the waters and figure out what you want, but once you figure that out, then put everything into it and don't sacrifice anything else for it. Because it's like what I tell my clients too when I coach them is you don't want to outsource your core competencies, because those are what's going to make you. You want to outsource the stuff that you don't, that aren't as important, like filing or doing any of that other stuff. You want to focus on the stuff that you are great at and continue to be great at becoming. Because if you don't, then you're going to be worried about this, and you're not going to be focused on what you really need to be focused on.
And people pay a lot for that advice. I've paid a lot for that advice. So that is absolutely right.
Yep, definitely agree.
It's true. Focus on what you do best.
Good job, team, so far.
That actually follows into my next question. I was going to ask you all, what would your biggest form of advice be? Because all of us as undergraduates are, we're worried and wondering, what are we going to do after college? Is there a place for me? Is there a career that suits what I've learned so far and what fills me best? What do you guys recommend for us to do, and what kind of advice would you give to us?
I would say create your own hustle. You have to show other people that you're willing to hustle for yourself before they'll give you any opportunities. Like, I had a lot of success early on. Like, I was a freshman here when I was already writing for the San Diego Union Tribune, but I graduated, I got a quick job at the LA Times. I quit that because I knew journalism or newspaper was going to be going by the wayside real quickly, and it did. But I quit that after 13 months, and because I had also been working on TV shows at the time, and I got a couple shows, and then I went through like probably a 6-month stretch where I'm like, I can't get a job to save my life in television. What do I do? Like, I just gave up a career because I really wanted to work in TV. So what I did was I created a blog, which I call the Discomfort blog, which is me just trying a bunch of new things, like crazy things, like, jumping out of airplanes, having one-night stands, doing stuff like that, and I write about it. So, yeah. Not anymore, I'm taken now, but no, so I created this blog, did a bunch of crazy things, posted it on social media, and some of my former coworkers took notice to it and suggested I had a friend who was working at America's Got Talent. She saw what I was putting out there. It was basically me writing like 2,000, 3,000 word blog entries about these crazy things I was doing, and she's like, you are hustling, you're trying to create something. I really appreciate that. Most people just kind of are like applying, sending out resumes, expecting people to hand something out to them, and she goes, you should come and meet the producers of America's Got Talent. And I did. They hired me to be their social media person, and then they found out I knew comedians, and they basically said, book all the comedians for our show. I got somebody to finish in second place on the show, which is like unheard of, where most people on that who work on that show don't get anybody to finish in the top 10 for like years. And I did it my first season, and from then on, just NBC saw what I could do. Then they've been giving me tons of jobs, and then other companies see what I've done for NBC, so they give me jobs. But it all happened as a result of me creating this blog and just kind of putting it out there instead of just sending my resume out to places. Of course, I mean, it probably got like 100 views, my first couple entries, but one of those 100 views was somebody important. So I just say, really just hustle and create your own, whatever you want to do. Show people that you're willing to do it for yourself, and it can serve as an example to what, you can submit at places. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can come up with something to showcase what you want to do.
I would have to say definitely, well, there's actually a lot that I would tell you, basically what I tell all my candidates that I work with, everybody that I speak to. I mean, for example, I knew when I was in school what I wanted to do. I wanted to do sales. I come from a sales family. My parents both do sales, my brother does sales. So I knew what I wanted to do, but when I got into sales, right after I graduated, I had an outside sales job, door-to-door, business-to-business for a telecom company. Worst job ever. But and that's what I thought I wanted. But the kind of sales that I was used to, the kind of sales that I thought was sales, what my parents do is they're just more relationship building. They've already built their pipeline, their clients. So I thought that was cool, and then I get into this position, I'm like, what the heck? Like, I'm sitting in my car crying because I'm getting told to get kicked out, that we hate your company, all this stuff. But it was the first job offer I got, and they were pressured me to take the job. And So I guess my biggest thing of what I want to say, it's okay that whatever you think already in your mind that you're going to do or that you want to do, if that doesn't happen, it's okay. I want to do sales. I'm still doing a different kind of sales, which I actually hated recruiters, to be completely honest with you. A recruiter found me for that job that I hated, but yeah, I know. So I had a big grudge against recruiters because of that. I hated that job, but taking that job and doing what I did, I built such thick skin, and it got me to where I am today. Nothing I've done in my career has been that bad. So it's only moving up. It isn't close to being that bad. So one, it's okay that if what you're thinking right now, that you try it and it doesn't work, that's okay. It'll build up what you're gonna do for your future, what you don't even know. So never in a million years did I think I was gonna be a recruiter because I hated them. And then I got recruited to be a recruiter. But my reasoning behind it was kind of selfish. I wanted to tell my story about, like, because that's something that actually gets candidates to want to work with me. Like, I just tell them straight up, I'm a realist. I don't try to get people a job that I don't think they're good for or that I think they wouldn't be successful in, and I don't like working for clients that treat their employees like crap. So I'm honest almost to a default and I tell them straight up, I hated recruiters, but this is why you should work with me. Still, it's just a passion of being able to help people to find their careers. So, and then also be confident with what you've done and your abilities. That's another thing. I prepare my candidates for each and every step of their interview stage, and I cannot tell you enough. First, I worked with salespeople, which can talk your head off like I'm doing now, and that was fun. But now I'm doing IT and engineering. That's a whole nother breed. They don't even talk back. You're just like talking to them, and try to tell a joke, it doesn't work. So gotta come up with a new way to speak to them. And I hate technology. I still hate technology to this day, but I play it off. I am learning these new technologies, keywords, buzzwords, everything, and I'm able to help these people somehow be successful at it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is try new things. Please don't hate recruiters unless they are trying to screw you over. But just have faith, and hopefully some people will be there to actually be working for you and not against you just to make money off of you. You will be, I promise you, attacked and inundated with recruiter phone calls and emails once you graduate if you put your resume out on Monster and Career Builder. Be smart about it, just like anything in the internet. Be smart about what they're trying to do. Look up the companies that they're trying to get you a job with. A lot of them, you might get in my situation. I didn't look up the company where they got me the job, and if I would have looked on a website called Glassdoor, I would have seen that they have horrible reviews. And I may not have taken that job, but still, again, I got to where I am today because of going through that hard time. And, but yeah, and then I know we have more questions and everything, but if any of you want to learn more about recruiting or just about formatting resumes, interviewing tips, anything, please feel free to talk to me because I love to talk about it.
My best advice is just to go out there and experiment. Really, what he said, hustle, go out there, put yourself out there. Talk to people, build relationships. I mean, you guys are at a stage where you're just graduating from college, you're fresh, you probably are still in a situation where you don't know exactly what you want to do, and you're not going to know until you're experimenting with different things. And then give it all you got, back to passion. Just stay focused, and you'll figure it out once you've experienced different things and different people, different circumstances, what you exactly want to do. And just feed off of that, because that's going to bring you super success in whatever you do. Anything in communications is great because it's communicating. Business is based on communications and relationships. So if you want to build your own business, if you want to work for someone, whatever you want to do, figure it out and then go from there.
I would agree. I would say definitely be open-minded. I am a planner. I thought I had my whole life planned when I was in high school, and of course nothing turns out the way you plan. Like I said, I thought I was going to move to LA, like work in film. I even went up there like looking for places. And then I get a job in insurance. Who wants to work in insurance? And I was like, did I waste my degree? I'm not you know, the position required a degree, so I'm like, okay, I didn't waste it, but it was like totally different than what I thought I would be doing. And then when I was working in claims, I actually went back and got my master's in counseling and psychology, thinking I was going to be a therapist. So I went to school, did all that, started doing therapy, and then I'm still not a therapist. But what I learned along the way is that when I got promoted into college recruiting, that degree also helped because I'm able to interview and kind of know when to probe and be able to listen. And so everything that I've done has actually worked out for where I am right now, even though it's a completely different path than what I thought I wanted to do. So definitely don't be afraid, like you guys have said, to try new things. Even if it's not what you originally thought, and you're never too old to like change careers or to try new things, so don't be afraid of that either. And then the last part I would say is definitely the more you know, the more valuable you are. So when I started working in hiring, for every little thing I was like, advertising, I want to learn that. Working with new hire orientation, I'll do that. So the more you know, the more valuable you are. So definitely put yourself out there, learn everything you can, and it'll definitely pay off.
Mine's kind of similar to what Josh and Carmen were saying. I mean, I'm probably pulling it out in like 3-4 points, so bear with me here. So the first point I would say is discover who you are and what your passion is first. And that's vitally important because you want to go into the field being passionate about what you want to do. Because if you don't, you're going to come into a job that you're going to say, like, I don't want to do this. So if you're not passionate, you're not going to be inspired. If you're not inspired, you're not going to be motivated. If you're not motivated, you're just going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs and just being like, give me another job. Okay, second point I would say would be, kind of like what Josh and Carmen were saying, is you can create your own hustle. I mean, you're communication majors. Remember what we said in the beginning. You can do so many different things. The internet has provided that for you. I mean, imagine, 12 years ago when we weren't here yet, there was no such thing as blogging and social media or any of that stuff yet, Now imagine, you can make a living just talking smack about somebody, writing negative reports about a restaurant, you have that outlet. You can, again, like what I did when I was, I'll tell you a quick story. When I lost my job at, when I was living in Seattle for a little bit. I lost my job, and it was just kind of out of nowhere, and it kind of just humbled me a little bit. But what ended up happening was I started to look at myself and look at what I was passionate about and what my strengths were. And part of my strengths were, again, I could do everything. And so what I started to do was I started reaching out to people I knew who had businesses and said, hey, do you need some work? I'm looking for some work. I'm willing to help you out. Then I started reaching out to like nonprofits because I know they need work. So I was like, I want to help you out. And every time I was reaching out to a different person, I offered a different thing because I could do so many different things. And so instead of I was trying to find a job, but at the same time, I didn't let that unemployment hinder me. I knew that I was able to do so many other things, and I just had to keep hustling to get that and create the opportunities for myself. Because if I didn't, I'd be like, crap, I got to go to the unemployment office. I got to fill this out. So I was create your own terms basically, and you have the ability to do it because of the way everything is set up for you nowadays. Again, I mean, you guys should be blessed. We didn't have this stuff, 12 years ago. Now, I mean, literally, you can do work for people overseas. There's a lot of things you can do there. And I think lastly would be, research the company that you're going to jump into. Because again, if you're not a culture fit for that company, you're going to not enjoy working for that company. A lot of times, I'm sure the recruiters can speak on it too, a lot of recruiters are trying to find high quality type personnel to join their teams. That means they're looking for people who have the personalities that fit the type of culture that they want there. So if you're looking for a job, look for the type of company that really resonate with your values. That's why I remember what I was saying earlier, like I help companies discover what their core values and beliefs are, because once they can dictate what they believe in, they'll find employees and customers that assimilate to those beliefs as well. And again, like what Carmen's saying, it's a relationship. Everything is about relationships nowadays. Getting your job, you have to know someone typically, or it'll help you at least get to where you need to go. But just don't settle, and you have a lot of opportunities ahead of you.
Can I add to that? If you can also make your own company. Like I think at the end of the day, a lot of people's goals are to build themselves and what they do or what they like. So you don't have to necessarily always work for someone. You can also make yourself, you know.
Well, there's 4 of you who are doing that, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Can I just move these flowers out of your face? Okay. How dare you? Okay, let's play a quick game here. I just want to get an idea. Show of hands, how many of you are like, I have absolutely no idea what I want to do when I get out of college? Zero clue. Seriously, raise them up so I can see. Okay, how many of you have like just maybe a little bit like, oh, I think I want to do this, I think I want to do that?
Good.
All right, and then how many of you are certain I'm doing this? Okay. Check this out. I went all over the place before I figured out what I'm doing today, and I'm doing like 8 different things. So my freshman year of college was actually not here. I went to Sonoma State University for a year. I was an English major then. What was I going to do? I don't know. And I was playing like 7 different sports. I was all over the place, and I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do at the end of the year, so I moved back here. I went to Maricosta College part-time for a couple years, trying to figure it out again. I switched my major to communications at the time. What do I want to do? I don't know. I had been dancing for about, at that time, 15 years, doing choreography, teaching hip-hop, teaching in gyms and things like that, and I decided to take a break from college because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took 2 years off of school. I moved to Los Angeles to teach dance, and that's when music happened. And the point of this little story is that it's completely okay for you to change whatever you want to do, you know, when you're done with school, and follow that. I felt like, and I don't know how you guys feel about this kind of talk, but I feel like the universe kind of just directs you in the way that you're supposed to go. And if I didn't listen to that, whatever that is, I wouldn't be here today. So giving some credit to some annoying friends who made me sing karaoke. Had I not done that, I wouldn't have gotten off stage from that first night that I did it and had someone say, oh, where can I buy your CD, where can I see your next show? And if I didn't get that kind of motivation that one first moment, I wouldn't have done it a second time and a third time and then for the whole rest of the year until I decided, wait a minute, someone is telling me that I apparently should be in music out of nowhere. So I made the decision to call a producer in Los Angeles, and I said, I know that you know me as Alyssa JC, the choreographer, but would you mind recording me? And he's like, yeah, sure. Do you have any songs? I'm like, oh, that goes with that, doesn't it? I don't have any songs written. So out of nowhere, I started writing songs, and then I'm recording, and then all of a sudden I'm playing at the San Diego County Fair, and it's like one thing after the next, and it's because, again, it all comes back for me. When you find out what you want to do, and you can take all these different avenues to get there, just go after it, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't, because using music as an example, supposedly it's the most difficult industry to get into, and I just didn't listen to anyone. And the more that you listen to yourself and to your heart, and you just believe in yourself, that's the #1 thing I tell people when I mentor them, is that you have to believe in yourself, and you'll just, I'm not preaching, but like, you can do anything you want. Just find what you love and just get after it, and you can do anything you want to do.
And to add to that, the one thing is, don't be afraid to fail. What I've done in the past too is, because I was a designer too, when I was applying for jobs, I always had to show the work that I had done before. And so what I would do is I would create custom stuff for the job that I was applying for. And if I didn't get the job, I would actually take those designs that I did and I would apply it and utilize it for the next job I was trying to apply for. So, take everything with a grain of salt. Like, even though you didn't make it or you didn't succeed in it, there's something there that you can use later on. It doesn't have to be at that very moment. It could have been you were supposed to do that because you're going to take it somewhere else. And then the last thing I think was, oh dang, it just slipped my head. Oh, it was if you're looking for a job like in marketing or communication or stuff like that, one advice I gave like the other class prior to this was, what I used to do was I would go on Indeed or Craigslist and I would look at the job descriptions and see what employers were looking for. And then once I saw what they were looking for, I would compare the skill sets that they were searching for with the skill set that I had. If I didn't have the skill set that they were looking for, then I would go back and research and find the ones I liked and learned how to do everything from there. So that would be one piece of advice, especially if you're looking for a job and don't know where to place yourself. Look at what they're looking for and see how you hold against those jobs.
Wait, can I say one more thing on that? Sorry. The music is not even really what I'm doing full time anymore. That was actually another point I wanted to make. It's like, yeah, maybe I can tour and I'm playing and I'm singing or whatever, but at the same time, I started my own business where I'm helping other people, artist development, media coaching, booking agency. I did not go to school for marketing, and all of a sudden I'm helping people create a better online social media presence. Where did that come from? I don't know, but I just kind of developed and discovered all these different things from putting myself in that position. So, and then hosting balcony TV, hosting these different shows, where did that come from? I don't know. But there's just all these different things that can come along with the communications degree. And it just, again, just allow yourself the opportunity to have all these different things happen for you. And then when you find that passion, you'll be able to just nail it.
Okay, for my next question, along the journey of college leading into your current position, did you have anyone that was your mentor, whether it be a professor, one of your family members, or a friend, anyone that you feel significantly helped you along your journey?
I think there's been a lot of people, actually. I mean, really everywhere I've gone, starting from here, and I mean, here was professors. Dr. Rossman never giving me an A, always giving me a B, even though I think I deserved an A. Still upset about that. No, but I mean, a lot of the time, it was, honestly though, here, I definitely had a big ego when I was in college because I was already doing what I wanted to do for a living. So I think all my professors kind of were like, you need to check yourself before you get into the real world. So that was one thing. I still talk to Dr. Rossman. I started here in 2003. This is 12 years later. I mean, so she's definitely been a mentor. I mean, all your professors really should be at this point in your guys' lives. Each show I do, there's always somebody who's older than me that teaches me something. There's some people who I've never even worked with, but I see Judd Apatow all the time in comedy clubs. Every time I see him, I ask him a question that, I don't know, and he does know because he's been in the business 25 years. I mean, I've been in it 11 or 12 now. So, I mean, there's everything that you do, you should be learning from the people who have been there longer, who do what you want to do. I mean, I became a sports journalist because that was when I was 18, because a sports writer came to the newspaper and, basically was a guest speaker like we are, and saw something I wrote, which was the first thing I ever wrote, and he said, I want you to come down to the office tomorrow. And I went down, had lunch with him and the sports editor, and after an hour lunch, they go, you're hired. I go, I didn't even know this was an interview. And he taught me everything for a year before he went on to do something else. And then just every show I've done, I mean, I just talked about Jerry Springer. He taught me that, this sounds really dumb, but you can get away with anything as long as you shake your hand afterwards. I'm like, that, and I've tried it and it works, like in television. So I mean, just anything, just everywhere you work, somebody can teach you something. Just be observing. My first day on any job, people I think are generally concerned because I'm an observer my first day. I really don't talk a lot. I just kind of grasp the surroundings, maybe even for the first week. And then after that, I'm just kind of off and running. But you just really need to observe and see who knows or who you think knows what they're doing. And just kind of try and follow in their footsteps until you figure it out.
Really good advice.
For me, definitely all the professors, Professor Matsumoto and Dr. Rossman and Freddie Avalos, they're all amazing. And definitely, I mean, as far as just teaching us they're fun, they are down to earth, and they make learning fun. As far as like a mentor after school, definitely my parents, just because they were in sales or are in sales and have been very successful with it. They're my main mentors with, it's okay that I failed at what I thought I wanted to do, the door-to-door sales. And then getting into recruiting. My first job had a phenomenal mentor. She was my boss and taught me everything that I know about recruiting. So I think you gain a mentor. I am one of those people who hasn't had one mentor. I know people or have a mentor for many years, but you kind of find a new mentor in every new position and every step of your life. You don't always have to have the same mentor, and it doesn't have to be for that long. And it could be a family member too.
You will have a mentor every day of your life, every phase of your life. You're going to live different things, different circumstances. When I was in college, Dr. Rosman kept pushing me because I was so distracted. I was already working kind of like him. We thought we knew it all. We thought we had it all together, and kind of swerved the wrong way. And she kept me on check. So thank you. But till now, I'm always looking for people that are successful in what I want to do. I envision myself in a lot of these people that are, you know, investors or financial advisors or wherever I want to go. And every time you find someone there's always going to be somebody that's more successful, who's acquired more, who's learned more, who's been around longer. And they're wise. So going to them and having them answer your questions of how did you do it, what did you do, what took from you to get where you're at now is very important, because that's where you're going to learn from. So there's mentors all the time.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely the professors, of course, really motivating you through school and sharing their experiences, and it was just really great. And I would say once I started at Geico, I was actually really fortunate to have really great supervisors in all the different positions I've been in, so they were really helpful and just being really supportive of, you know, my new position in hiring and just learning from them. And if I could give advice, I definitely say as far as relationships, they are important, and you never know who you're going to work for or with. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're out there in the business world. Just treat people with respect, be humble, just work, and yeah, definitely be humble, because mostly everyone starts in the bottom, and again, you don't know who you're going to work with or work for. So definitely those relationships are very important.
Just to piggyback off that real quick, even though it's a large, huge world out there, you'd be surprised how small the business world is.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy, because I will recruit for, like, let's just, for example, medical device companies. There's been people who have been spot on and phenomenal for the jobs, and they didn't get the job because they burned a bridge with ABC company and they're trying to get a job with XYZ. They quit without giving the 2 weeks notice, whatever it may be. It's just, it stinks, but it's also a blessing in disguise. But the world out there, business world is small, and like she said, you never know who you're going to want as a client. You never know who you're going to work for. You never know who you're going to work with and want to get a job with.
For me, I think in college, my mentors were Brown and Dreama. They really pushed me when I was here. Brown especially, she basically kind of took me under her wing, kind of made me like her mini prodigy during my time here. So she kind of taught me a lot of stuff. But I think after college, I think my biggest mentors had to have been Google and Amazon. I mean, realistically, it's kind of true, because you know, you guys heard of that saying: if you want to be a millionaire, you surround yourself with millionaires.
Yep, that's true.
If you want to be successful, you surround yourself with successful people. If you want to hang out with bums, you're going to be a bum. So in essence, it's kind of that same concept. What I learned in my career was I didn't settle for what was in front of me. I always continued to learn and to grow. Whether it was learning from other people, or I took the next step and started looking online for things that I liked that interested me, and then started buying books, started reading blogs, started taking that extra step to discover and learn more about it. So I mean, again, this is something that you guys have now that you don't even have to hesitate. You can do it on your phone. Like I do it all the time. If I'm trying to discover a problem for a company, I'm sitting on my phone. I'm already online searching for what are people saying about it. Even reading the reviews, what people are commenting in the dialogues. LinkedIn is a huge resource for that. You can just join groups and hear what people are talking about. And that's the opportunity that you have, is you can actually go online and just sit there and watch what people say. And you will learn a ton of stuff in like an hour of just doing that. So if you're looking for mentors or coaches, I mean, gravitate to there, and that's the easiest. You don't have to talk to people. And then in addition to that, if you find someone that you find is interesting that you can learn from them, don't hesitate to ask them. I've done it so many times. I'll just email people. Like, I like what you said here. I want to learn. I want to pick your brain and learn more about what you do. Half the time they'll say, okay, cool, and they'll respond back, and they'll chat with me. Other times they won't respond back. But that doesn't hold me back. I still keep searching. So
what really is a mentor. I mean, honestly, you can just look to your left, to your right, and some of your friends are one right now. You can go to them and ask them for advice. I agree with virtually everything that you guys all said, but in a different kind of way. I just feel like anyone who's a really good person is a mentor. To me, at this point in my life particularly, I've come to the point where I've really learned, it's taken me my whole life to do this, but to really be honest with myself and to surround myself with the people who are really honest and are really good and give back to the community. And those are the kind of people that I look to as mentors, just good, kind-hearted people. And I mean, professors, of course, yes. My family, number one. I have the best parents. I have the best older brother. He was the best mentor to me my entire life. Did I listen to him? Almost never, and I should have. But I think truly that the mentors are people who you surround yourself with who are the good, kind-hearted, doing just the best that they can for the world, as cheesy as that sounds, but nice, good people.
Okay, well that concludes my questions for today, but I know we had some requests. We would like to hear you sing, Alyssa, just a little. Any of your favorite songs that you've written?
Sure. Did anybody want to ask anything?
Yeah, any questions?
I forgot the question. Let's just go for the concert.
Either order, it's perfectly fine.
Ask something. I mean, somebody raise your hand. Say something.
Let me tell you a story.
This is the time.
So I just listened to an interview of someone that we're showcasing in an article for our magazine that we're doing internally. And one of the things that he said, he's a top $1 million producer for investments, financial investments. One of the things he said is that he's surprised no one asks him questions. So this is your opportunity. You have 6 people. That's why I didn't do math. So you have 6 people here who have, you know, multiple years of experience. I would take advantage of it now, and you know, just who cares? Let it all out.
About branding a nonprofit. I feel like a nonprofit already has their culture and what they're trying to communicate to the community.
Okay.
How would you go about branding them?
Well, I'll tell you right now. Like the unique thing about that is that's because of the internet and how it's a two-way street now compared to before. Like before, it was a two-way street. People would just shoot ads at you, and you know there would be no way to respond. Now, because of the internet, you shoot an ad out there, your customers can respond back to you. And so a lot of the businesses are trying to change and kind of go like a nonprofit route. So branding a nonprofit is similar to branding any business or even individual. It has to start with your purpose. Why are you doing this? If you don't understand why you're doing it, then you're not going to be able to communicate what you want to do or translate that messaging to your customers or to your patrons. The other thing is the company culture. If you can't align the people who are working for you, especially because nonprofits have the tendency to have a high turnover rate because you're dealing with a lot of volunteers. So you know the flow can get lopsided because then all of a sudden you're moving. All of a sudden a whole wave of interns just fell off. So what happens now? So having that culture stabilized there is the other part of it, and the last part of it is delivering your story. That is the biggest part because a lot of times nonprofits, they tend to say, okay, I'm a nonprofit, I'm going to tell exactly what we do. I'm going to promote. And that's the wrong story. The flip side of it is you are telling a story to the people who are who want to join your mission. You have a I can't even say that word all the time. Philanthropic message or purpose that you're trying to convey, and you want other people to buy into that message. So a lot of times, like I tell clients, don't sell, especially no matter what business you're in. It's all about educating and providing the stories for those people. You don't want to say we're doing this. You want to say these people have done this because of this, because then now it makes it all about them. It's not about you. So those are the 3 points I would say as far as branding, a company or even your nonprofit is start with your purpose, why, then start with how everything functions internally, and then figure out your messaging, and then that's how you'll be able to translate everything across the board. Because if any of those parts are fragmented, you're going to give a misguided message to the people who are looking to your nonprofit.
That was an awesome question. Really good. Who has one? Another one.
She has one over here.
I think my question is for Megan, actually. Pretty sure you said this. What is Glassdoor.com? Is that like Write My Professors, but for business
It
treatment?
is. Yeah, so highly recommend. I mean, just Google the company, and it should. Glassdoor is pretty much what will come up. Don't. With that being said, don't always take everything on there for take it with a grain of salt. And that's, I mean, if there's one review, maybe don't. Just try it out, but explore your options.
Even to add on to that, when you apply for a job and you're doing your interviews, you want to ask them, how do they handle growth in the company? How do they handle mistakes in the company? Because then that'll tell you whether or not they're a company that's out to help develop you into the person you want to be, or if they're out to just acquire you because they need that position filled. So I think that'll help you gauge, because you can read all the reviews like what she's saying, and a lot of the times if you're mad and you're pissed off at the company, you're gonna go on that thing and you're gonna tell the world like how pissed off you are. But a lot of times you never see the good side of the company, and half of the time sometimes companies will fabricate it and they will put fabricated stories like, oh, this company is so well. It goes back to one of the stories I talked about earlier. I was working for a company who was very, very, like a very bad company. I just recently looked on Glassdoor to see what people were saying, and I saw all these good stuff, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And then all of a sudden I start reading down, all these people are saying, don't read what the top people are saying because they're lying, they're fabricating the story, it's all about this, this, this. So when you do the interview, just do your due diligence and ask them, like, how you handle that type of stuff.
And sometimes you can't find out, just like Yelp. I mean, it's Yelp for businesses, so you just kind of got to find out the hard way too sometimes, which is okay.
I have to add to that too. Actually, personally, when I was first searching for a job, there was a site called jobvent.com. I don't know if it's still around, but there was actually some bad things about Geico, and I was already in the process. I had an interview scheduled, and it kind of freaked me out. And I actually postponed and canceled my interview, and I'm here 7 years later. So definitely, you have to find out for yourself. Go through the interview process. Definitely research. So, yeah.
Get the offer, make your decision later. I mean, seriously, you want the cards and the ball in every single ball possible in your court. So even if you don't think this is what you want to do, get the offer. And I know it sounds bad, and I don't like it when this happens to me, and people will pull out. I hate it when it happens to me. But for you need to look out for yourself and get all the offers on the table that you can get, and make your decision that way. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, question.
I know you were talking about like searching for jobs and different websites and stuff, and I've seen some in the past where you have to pay for membership. And have you ever seen this before? Would you recommend investing in those kind of websites?
No.
Would you is that a fraud pretty much?
I like Indeed because it kind of it brings from everywhere, like Monster and Career Builder and everywhere. And then LinkedIn, I use LinkedIn a lot as a recruiter. It allows me to search for students. I don't know, I might have added some of you guys, but yeah. So LinkedIn, I would say like Indeed or like Career Builder.
So just stick
or
with
those
that primarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Career Builder, Monster, LinkedIn are the three, and Indeed, the four main. I would never pay for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because then we have to pay as a company. We already pay for Career Builder and Monster, and not Indeed, but it's a ton of money. My company and the other companies I've worked for do not invest in any other websites.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
What is Indeed.com?
It's another job board. So job boards for Career Builder, you can find job postings on there to apply to yourself, or also that's why I was saying you're going to get inundated with recruiter calls and emails, because your resume will be posted on Career Builder if you want to. But I highly suggest posting your resume on Career Builder, posting your resume on Monster, and Indeed, like she said, will pull from those two.
That's where I look. I'll spend time and actually search like keywords and send emails. So
that's where recruiters look, and then also you can look on the flip side. And LinkedIn, I'm not sure. It's Facebook for job for your position. So it's not posting pictures or anything like that. It's a professional Facebook.
Like of your food and what you're eating.
Yeah, no, you can only put one profile picture.
Yeah.
So it's literally your resume on a profile.
Internships, you guys. If you find yourself, that's just the way to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear from the artists.
So, okay,
as a business person also, I hope that you guys have cards on you. Don't ever leave your house without these. I hand out so many business cards on a regular basis, so please don't leave without taking
I'll have
one
to
of
interject
ours.
on that though.
What's that?
I'll have to interject on that though.
Really?
Because this is what I learned.
Let's hear this.
What I learned is
Let me get mine out.
when you have your business card, most of the time you're gonna get people, oh, I want your business card. And again, remember, it's all about relationships. If the person really wants to get in contact with you, they will talk to you and get to know you on a personal level right there to get, to talk to you. Having a business card is good, but then at the same time, like for me, especially as a business owner too, sometimes I lose them or I toss them and I won't remember who I spoke with. So making that first impression with whoever you're talking with at that moment and getting their info, I think is better, because then it's going to show them that you want to build a relationship with them. You don't just want them for their business card for that. That's just my
The combination of the two. Yeah.
It also depends on what industry you're
Yeah,
into.
exactly.
Like Alyssa, myself, we're a little bit more flashy. So like if you look at my business card, it's me on the top of
And then
Runyon
look at how
Canyon in
little.
Los Angeles. Yeah. So there's an image of me.
boring.
One thing, if you're working in
Mine's boring.
entertainment, people are less apt to throw away your card if there's a
That's all
picture on it. So it just depends on what your industry is, generally, I think. But
Just because his is nicer doesn't mean.
So, I got to be the special musical guest on a TV show last night called Tonight in San Diego, which is like SNL meets Jimmy Fallon kind of a thing. We taped it, and it's going to be airing in like a week or two, so if you take my card, and you'll know when it airs.
I'll let you down.
He'll take one of your cards.
Let's see, let me post something really quick here.
I want it.
Instagram.
I'm constantly
find
recording,
you.
constantly putting out new albums. Just when I think I'm done recording, I put out another one. So I've released 7. I'm in the middle of recording an 8th. This is one of the brand new ones from it. I wrote it from a guy's perspective about a girl, so you guys take notes. I'll keep around for a while.
As you battle ashes, you pay attention. She sang with her eyes what she never mentioned. Hear it in her laugh, see it in her smile. She's the girl you keep around for a while. Hate to let her go, but you love to watch her leave. Gets more beautiful every time we meet. Notices when you go the extra mile. Yeah, she's the girl you keep around for a while. 'Cause when it works there are no explanations or complications. Feels just like walking on air. to ask, will you spend your life with me? You wanna see the white dress float down the aisle, 'cause she's the girl you kept around for a while. Yeah, she's the girl you'll keep around for a while. 'Cause when it works, there are no explanations or complications. Feels just like walking on air. The overthinking, just constant reeling, lost for lovers still. Tonight, she's the girl you keep around for a while. She's the girl you keep around. When she bats her lashes and pay attention.
That was awesome.
So this little blue birdie told me that it was someone's birthday today. So, if we could sing happy birthday on the count of 3 to Miss Catherine. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Catherine. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you. Thank you for joining us in CSUSM 2017.
Which one?
The snack, the small card.
I just got